Hello and welcome to Little Likac Podcast episode 6. Today it is June the 25th, Friday 2021. That is a really weird way of putting it. It is Friday, June the 25th, 2021. And I am coming to you today from Derby in Derbyshire in the UK. I live here with my husband, my teenage daughters and our dog and a couple of chickens as well, which I'll tell you a bit more about chickens later as well. So I'm filming this after work today. It is a bit cold, a bit miserable, considering it is, nearly the end of June. The weather today really has not been very summery. And I put on a lightweight summery dress to go to work, and I thought I'm going to be a bit cold at work, so I'll grab something just to put over my shoulders until it warms up. Well, it never warmed up. So I wore this today at work, including even going outside when I was on duty, and I thought, I wonder if the students are going to think that's a bit of a strange thing she's wearing, but nobody said anything either way. So this is the Quiet Time shawl, which was designed by my friend Penny, Penny Baker Knits, and I test knitted this for her last December. It's a lovely, lovely shawl. It is mostly garter stitch. All the purple is garter stitch, and then you knit this beautiful edging, and the edging is actually knit that way going across, and you pick up stitches. You pick up a stitch as you go across, pick up, and it is a really, really lovely big shawl. It takes 2 skeins of yarn. As you can see, I chose to do it in contrasting colours. So that is Quiet Time shawl, and it's really warm, snuggly, squishy, lovely, just to sort of throw around my shoulders at work. So that's what I'm wearing today. I don't think I've introduced myself. My name is Amanda, and you can find me on Ravelry as Likac66. You can find me on Etsy as Little Likac Yarn. You can find me on Instagram as Little Likac Yarn, and you can also email me at littlelikac@gmail.com. My Etsy shop, I sell hand-dyed yarn and knitting notions like stitch markers and progress keepers that I make. So I am using my iPad this afternoon to record, which is the reason why the way I'm sat looks a little bit different. I couldn't prop the iPad up any higher. I'm not overly happy with the angle I'm sitting at. So you can see my knees there. I'll try and put them down, so we'll see. And I don't know how the quality is going to work out. There is a reason I'm recording on my iPad, and that's because when I've been recording on my phone, it then seems to take ages to be able to transfer it from my phone to anywhere else. And I do my editing on the iPad just because of memory. So I suddenly thought, well, why don't I record it directly onto my iPad? Then I'm not having to wait ages and ages to be able to transfer it. And I can edit it straight away and get it uploaded, maybe even this evening. But it'll certainly be out by Saturday morning, 26th of June. So we'll see what the quality of the recording is like on the iPad, see if it makes any difference. And if I'm going to carry on with the iPad, I'm definitely going to find some other way of changing this seating arrangement, because I'm feeling very self-conscious. I'll put don't know why, but I'll put my shawl on there. I feel slightly less self-conscious. Okay, so what have I got for you today? Well, let me talk to you firstly about things that have happened in the last couple of weeks. So since I saw you last, I did my first online yarn festival, the Yarncraft Festival, and I really enjoyed that experience. I shook my head as I said that, but I really enjoyed the experience. So I don't know if any of you have seen any of the online yarn festivals that have been going on the last year or so. So they sort of use Facebook or Instagram, maybe some other things like, I don't know, Zoom maybe, but this one was on Instagram, and basically there were 2 days of mostly yarn dyers, but some people were selling project bags and a few other things to do with knitting, and each of us had like a 15-minute slot, and there was a timetable sent out, and you could go onto Instagram, onto the Yarncraft account, and then each of us took it in turns to be on that account, we had 15 minutes live where we could show everybody our yarn and talk about it in a bit more detail and talk about any discounts and things like that, and people could ask questions directly. And I was nervous about doing it, but not as nervous as I thought I was going to be. I set it all up. I set up all my yarn and everything on the table outside because it was a beautiful sunny summer's day, and I thought I would do it outside. Had everything set up, and my daughter was going to record, and it was all going to be great. And then about 10-15 minutes before I was due to start, the dog was out in the garden barking, and I thought, oh, better put the dog in the house. We're not going to want a barking dog while I'm trying to talk. So we put the dog in the house, shut the door on him. That was fine. Then literally about just another 5 minutes before I was due to start, our next door neighbours came out into their garden and started having a really loud conversation, and I was like, oh no, I don't know what's worse here, the idea that they're going to be able to hear me in my garden talking to potential customers, or what if actually they don't realise I'm recording and they're loud and people can hear their conversation. So I was beginning to worry about that. And then I mentioned at the beginning that we have chickens. We have 3 chickens, and one of the chickens started to make a little bit of clucking noise. And I said to my daughter, what with the dog and the neighbours, all I need now is for the chickens to start making a racket, and I shall just cry. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Less than 5 minutes into my 15-minute slot. I think the chickens sometimes make a lot of noise when we come outside because they know we're outside, and I think they think, if they make a noise, we'll go over and maybe give them some corn and give them some attention. So, because sure enough, as I say, less than 5 minutes into my time spot, one of the chickens decided that she was going to make herself heard, and she just kept going and kept going. And then at another point, I was kind of sitting down in front of the table, and at another point I stood up, and just as I stood up, behind me was the garden fence, and just as I stood up, a squirrel came across the back of the fence as well. So I was like, video bombed. Can you be video bombed? Well, I was. All itchy now. Yeah, so I was video bombed by a squirrel going behind, and you could hear the chicken going off crazy. So I don't know. We decided it probably just all added to the atmosphere. So anyway, I think that video is still definitely on my Instagram. If you want to check out the chicken and the squirrel, spot the squirrel. But actually, you know what, it was just funny, and a lot of people I had a few people send me messages afterwards saying that it was just funny and that it was fine, and not to worry about it, which was lovely. It was a really nice experience, and I had some really nice messages, and sold out of a few things as well. So it was a really good experience, and I'm definitely going to. In fact, I'm booked into a couple of other online festivals this year, so that's really exciting, and it made me feel I don't know, like a proper dyer, I suppose. That this new business of mine is actually, it's working, and I've had some lovely feedback. So if you've bought any of my yarn, thank you for those of you who have bought my yarn. That's amazing, and thank you for those of you that have left feedback. Every time somebody sends feedback, it's really brilliant. And if you have bought something and not left feedback, it'd be great if you could. Anyway, so yes, that happened literally 2 weeks ago, and it was fun and funny, and I will do it again. Also, in the last weekend, was it last weekend? Well, it might have been the weekend before as well now. It was World Knitting Public Day, and myself and 4 other friends of mine for my knitting group, we met up in the park in Derby. Beautiful, again, really lovely sunny afternoon, and we spent a couple of hours just with a picnic blanket and some chairs catching up. It was the first time we'd seen each other in person for over a year, and it was really lovely, and we just sat and knitted in the sun and caught up with each other and celebrated World Knitting Public Day. So that was really lovely. So that's the kind of knitting related things that have happened in the last couple of weeks. Let me just finish my coffee actually. Work on this. It's going cold. Not that I mind cold coffee. So those are the main sort of knitting things that have happened in the last couple of weeks that I can think of. Have bought a few things and stuff which I'm going to be showing you later. So let's get on with showing you the knitting then. Finished objects. So I have 3 finished objects to show you. I'm kind of going like this because I'm never sure whether these count or not. They count as far as I'm concerned. So if you have seen my podcasts before, firstly, thank you for coming back. If you've seen them before and you've still come back for more, thank you very much. It's lovely to see you. You're very welcome. And if it's the first time that you've joined me, then welcome. I hope you like what you see. If you do like what you see and like to see more of it, then press subscribe and then you'll get a notification. Oh, I think if you press the little bell as well, press subscribe and the bell, you get a little notification when I upload another video. The plan, and so far it's been going to plan, the plan is that I podcast every 2 weeks, every fortnight. I have put an extra little video in between. I did a video a couple of weeks ago of me blocking a shawl, which was just a quick 5-minute one. So yes, anyway, so if you have been with me for a few weeks, you would have seen this project bag before. This project bag, so cute, with the llamas or alpacas, is from Amelia X Joy, and quite a lot of my project bags are from her actually, because I really like, she's got so many different designs and she's so reasonably priced. She's got a shop on Etsy, so I would say check her out. So in here I have the blanket squares for my Radvent Throw that I am working on. So 2 of my finished objects, and I'm sorry if you don't count them as finished objects, but I'm counting them. 2 of my finished objects are squares for the blanket. And so the first one is this. Just pull that one through. This yarn. So the Radvent Throw is a design, a blanket design where you knit 24 squares, and it was originally designed for you to use with an advent calendar of 20 gram squares. And I was going to do that last year, but the advent calendar that I'd got was kind of like a homemade one, and I'd done 10 gram minis, not 20 grams. So I realised I couldn't do this blanket with my minis. So instead, I've been doing it as a bit of a memory blanket this year, and every month, any leftover 4-ply fingering weight yarn I've been doing a square. If I've got enough 20 grams or more, I've been doing a square for the blanket. So this yarn was from the V-back tee that I finished a couple of months ago, and this was one of the yarns that I used for that. This was a Ducky Darlings yarn, so that square is now in there to go with the rest. I had them all laid out the other day, all the squares, and I'm really pleased with how it's looking. And then this one, really played yarn chicken with this. I only had about maybe 2 grams, 3 grams left after I finished this. This is one of my yarns. This is the Forest Flowers from A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I'd knitted a pair of socks in this. My main Rainbow Chronicles socks were from this yarn, and I had just enough to do the square. So I have done 2 more squares on my blanket, which means I'm now up to 10. I should be at 12 because we're at the end of June, and if I'm going to get it finished in the year, which is the plan, I need to get caught up with it, which I'll talk about in a minute as well. So that's 2 of my finished objects, 2 squares on my blanket. Sorry if you think that's cheating as a finished object, but I'm counting it. But also a proper finished object, proper finished object. I have finished this pair of socks. Why is it you always notice hairs on things like this when you're recording? Anyway, this is the corazon sock pattern, and it's designed by Kelly Menzies, and her knitting name is Row and Kate, and she's a lovely designer. I've talked about her before, and these were a test knit. I had to get 1 sock knitted quite quickly. They're very big because they are for my husband, so that's why they actually don't fit on the sock blocker properly. So I got 1 knitted in the time frame for the test knit, and then I must admit the second sock, of course, sort of got forgotten about for a little bit, and then I remembered and realised I thought, oh, I need to get that second one done. So it's a lovely sort of textured pattern, and it's just made with kind of like twisted stitches, like kind of a cable effect. I've done this in 2 yarns. Again, this one was some leftovers from the VBAC tea. It's a hand-dyed yarn that had been in my stash for a long time, and then this purple royal blue colour is my Stormy Skies sock yarn. That's from my shop. And I have restocked that one actually because it's sold out. So I'm really pleased with these. Husband has not worn them yet because I told him he couldn't wear them until I had shown them on the podcast. So I will let it, well actually I'm still not sure I'm going to let him have them yet because I'm going to the market again on Sunday. I'm at Newark Market on Sunday, so I might take them with me, or take one of them to show how the yarn knits up. So he's probably not going to get these till Monday. So they are proper finished object, really nice pattern. It took me a while simply because I knitted the extra large adult size, and because of the way this pattern is relatively tight, you do have a lot of stitches. I think actually for the extra large adult, when I was doing the leg, I think it's 90 stitches. So it was, for a sock, more time consuming than usual, but worth it. And wouldn't be as bad as that, obviously, if you were doing a smaller size. So those are my finished objects. Yay! Go me! I was beginning to feel like I was going to have nothing to show you. That was another reason that spurred me on. I was like, well, what can I get finished relatively quickly? I was like, oh yeah, that other pair of socks, let's get those finished. I'm going to have nothing to show as finished objects on the podcast. And I'd hate that. I'd hate to have, I'm sure it will happen, but I would hate to have a podcast where I've got no finished objects. It's nice to have finished objects, isn't it, to show? Okay, so those are my finished objects. Whips. So part of the reason why I didn't have much in the way of finished objects, I suppose, is because I have been working hard on some bigger projects, and made a lot of progress on a couple of projects. So the first whip I'm going to show you is what I call the school jumper. This is the one that's I've been working on for longest out of all my whips, all my current whips anyway, whips that I'm actually working on. There are whips hidden away that are a lot older than this one, trust me. And I keep saying I'm going to get those back out and work on them, but I need to put a plan together on how that's going to happen. Anyway, so this is what I call the school jumper. It's a really lovely cable pattern, cables and bobbles. It is from a magazine from probably quite a while ago, and the pattern is a Sorrel pattern, and I'm knitting this in cotton, a Sorrel soya cotton, and it's called the school jumper because it's in the colour or the cotton that I used to use to knit school jumpers for my daughter. She has now left school and is off to go to university, and the plan is for her to take this with it. So I've done the back, I've done one sleeve, I've nearly finished the second sleeve. I haven't worked on the second sleeve in the last couple of weeks, but I've been working on this daily, just a few rows each day, kind of going with that idea of 30 minutes a day, and it's been mostly in the morning as well, before going to work. So it's been like about between 6:30 and 7 in the morning I've been working on this. And yeah, so the progress keeper is from where I was 2 weeks ago. So look at that. I think that's pretty good progress considering I have only been doing a few rows per day. And actually I've only got about half a repeat of the pattern still to go before I start working on the neckline for the front. So I think that will, once I get to the neckline part, and then probably just have to work on one side at a time, I think it will really feel like I've nearly finished. Obviously I've got to sew it together, pick up the neckline, but none of that perhaps takes as much concentration as the actual cabling does. So I'm really pleased with the progress made on that. I feel like the end may be in sight. Not in the next 2 weeks. I don't think it will be done in the next 2 weeks before I see you for the next podcast. But hopefully next time I see you, the next podcast, it might just be sewing up and the neckline to do, maybe something like that. Okay, so really, really pleased with how that's turning out and the progress that I've made on that, and I'm going to keep going with that plan of trying to do 30 minutes a day on it. Then what else have we got? Aha, my summer sock camp socks. Summer sock camp and rainbow sock chronicles. So last time you saw these, there was very little done on them. I think just the cast, I'd cast on and maybe done 2 rows of the ribbing. Ta-da! Summer sock camp. I've got this mug from the Crazy Sock Lady last summer when she first did summer sock camp. That really is cold coffee now. We'll call it iced coffee. It's supposed to be like that then, isn't it? Right, apologies for that, but I needed that coffee after work today. So, last time you saw these 2 weeks ago, there was that much done. And again, my plan, because these are also my Rainbow Sock Chronicles socks, where you knit a colour, you knit a pair of socks in each of the colours of the rainbow each month, and the colour for June was turquoise. For it to qualify for any chance of winning a prize, not that that's probably very likely because the amount of entries they have, but you have to have it finished by the end of the month. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and I haven't got one finished, but I've nearly got one finished. I suddenly, the last couple of days, started working on it quite frantically. So you can see I am just down to the toes really. I'll just need to try it on again after this evening. I'll try them on again just to double check, but I think I'm just at the point now where I'm ready to do the decreases for the toes for the first one. So this is just a vanilla sock. I'm not using a pattern. This is just this sort of like my standard kind of go-to. So I think I've got 10 rows of rib. Because I was trying to do it fairly quickly as well, I probably just went with 10 rows of rib so I could get that done quickly. And I don't think, usually I do a 7-inch leg. I think I've only done about 5-inch leg, 5-6-inch leg to again try and get through it a little bit more quickly. Slip stitch heel, heel flap, and then just plain vanilla. Because it's self-striping anyway, I always find self-striping yarns, it always feels like you're knitting it a little bit more quickly as well because you're going through the colours. So this yarn is a Drops sock yarn, Drops Fable, Drops Fable print, yeah. So it is 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon, 25% polyamide. It just says wool, it doesn't say merino or anything like that, and feeling it, it's probably not merino. It's more rustic than, you know, sort of like some of the hand-dyed yarns that you get, but it's fine. It is quite soft, but you can definitely feel the difference compared to some of the other yarns. And when I first started knitting it, I was like, oh, this is really scratchy. It's not scratchy, it's just in comparison. Interestingly as well, I don't know if you can see, but although there is a definite pattern with the colours of the stripes, the sort of these bits here, which are almost kind of like a bit of a fake Fair Isle effect, they are not regular. So sometimes, like here, it's between the colour changes, and then here it's on a different colour, and then here again it's different. So when I come to cast on the next sock, I will make sure that it starts with this sort of aqua bit at the top. But I don't think, although I think the main stripe colours will pretty much match, they're not going to be an exact match because, as I say, that kind of Fair Isle-y little bit is definitely not regular on here. Don't know if that's deliberate or whatever. So they are definitely going to be slightly mismatched. Now that doesn't bother me. I know some people, I've got a couple of podcasts I watch where I know I'm thinking of a couple of individuals, I won't name them because I don't want to upset them, but I know they would hate that and they wouldn't be able to cope with that. But it doesn't bother me, actually. I think they'll just be fun socks. So they are my June Rainbow Sock Chronicles. It is the 25th of June. I would like to have them finished by the 30th of June, just so that I can put them on the Ravelry thread for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles and say, ta-da, completed. And I have a theory that I can do it. If I get the toes finished tonight, so it's Friday, if I get the toes finished tonight and the ribbing done on the second sock tonight, then tomorrow I need to get most of the leg done. And then Sunday I need to get the heel flap and gusset done, which then gives me Monday, Tuesday to do the foot and Wednesday to do the toes. Now, given that I don't like monogamous knitting, given that I will be wanting to do 30 minutes a day on the school cardigan, and there are other things already sort of tempting me, yeah, we'll see. We will see if I get that achieved, if I get that finished and a second sock done before midnight on Wednesday, and I get it posted onto the Sock Chronicles Ravelry group. Or we shall see. Sometimes I'm kind of like, if I say I'm going to do it, it'll definitely happen. I don't know. It depends whether I reach a point of kind of going, well, doesn't really matter. But then I always feel as if you get something cast off, you can allow yourself to cast something on. I always feel a little bit guilty casting something on if I haven't just cast something off. So we'll see. Right, so that's another whip, and then my other whip, oh, I love this, I've saved it to last. So it's the Summer Sorrel. The Summer Sorrel, I think sometimes it's called Summer Sorrel Tea, because it is short sleeved. So this is in a bag from Clara Rose, from Etsy. She has beautiful, beautiful bags. And if you remember, I was doing this in a 3-colour fade. So we had that, followed by that, followed by that. And these two, you can see, are now off the needles. So we are into the 3rd colour. I do need this one still for a little bit on the sleeves. So whether I don't know that I will have enough of that one left to add into my blanket. Definitely, as you can see, I've got plenty of that one. So that one is a yarn from Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit, and it's a Polwarth mix. This one I dyed, and I really must get around to seeing if I can recreate that actually as a colourway, because it is really, really pretty. But I'm not sure how much I made a note of what I did. But I'm sure I can probably, even if I don't get it exactly like that, I'm sure I can put a colourway together similar. Anyway, so this is where I have got to. I'm throwing needles around. Oh, I'm a great podcaster, aren't I? I haven't got this organised. Should have this that way around. That's the back, so that's the front. I have tried it on. I tried it on before I started going into the 3rd fade. And I just love it. I absolutely love it. So it is now the 3rd fade. I've done the actual fading bit, and we're into the bright pink. I'm just really hoping, I did try it on, but I was getting worried about leaving enough yarn to do the sleeves, so I felt I'm going to have to start the 3rd fade, because in the advice that it gives you in the pattern, it says to try and do all of your bust in one colour so that you don't get a line. And I'm hoping that I haven't started that 3rd fade until just under the bust line. Oh, fingers crossed on that. But let me just show you again. Now I think last time you saw this, I didn't put a progress keeper in, but I think last time you saw this I was up here. So again, 2 weeks, I've got a lot done. And I did most of that in the first week of this last fortnight, because I've then got the other socks done and wanted to get the squares done, etc. So this hasn't seen much attention in the last 7 days. I am also now at the point where it is just stocking stitch. This is the right way round, but I'm at the point now where actually when I knit it, you knit it inside out, so that you are just doing knit, 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 going round and round. So, but I am pleased with the colours. I think that bright pink is okay. Well, I like it. I like it. So I think it's going to be a really pretty summer top. Now, I would like to say that could be finished by the next podcast. I should stop saying what will be finished and what won't be finished, shouldn't I? Because who knows? Depends how distracted I get. I do get easily distracted by other patterns. I'll be knitting along on something. Knit, 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 knit. Ooh, that's pretty. Knit, 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 knit. Ooh, let me just check that out. Ooh, I think I've got the yarn for that. Ooh, let me just cast that on. So I'm really, really trying not to have too many things cast on at one time, because then nothing gets finished. Yeah, and I really would like to get this finished soon as well, because I want to wear it, because it is so lovely. And that's the thing, isn't it? Well, what is the point of us knitting these things if we don't wear them? And I want to get that worn, and I hope I can wear it in July, August, unless we have very hot weather. So those are all my whips. The turquoise socks, the school jumper, and the sorrel tee. Right, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about our make along now as well. So going back to this blanket, the blanket squares for this are for the Radvent Throw that I mentioned before. And so it is a pattern that is designed for advent calendars or advent scraps. And I made a pledge as part of our Christmas in July make along. My pledge in July is to make sure, or by the end of July, that I have caught up and I've completed a minimum of 14 squares for the blanket. Although there is now part of me wondering, have I got enough scraps for it? I'll have 2 from the summer sorrel, so there's another reason why to try and get the summer sorrel finished by then. So I'll have 2 yarns that I can put in from there, and I've got the 2 yarns from the corazon socks. So if I get that blue and that purple, so if I get the squares done, blue, the purple, and the pink and the lilac from the summer sorrel, that's 4 squares to do in July. And so yes, our Christmas make along. I have set up a Ravelry group, and it is called Little Likac Podcast. Thank you for those of you that have joined us over there already. There are a few people who've joined, which is lovely. If you join, please pop in and say hello on the welcome thread. And I've started a thread on there for the Christmas make along as well, just putting a few ideas perhaps of some patterns that people could consider using. So it'd be wonderful if you could pop onto there, share what you're going to be making. We will be starting officially from the 1st of July, and I will start an official thread. Well, actually I'll probably keep the same thread going, to be fair, because there's not a lot on there yet anyway. Hopefully it will get some more, and we will be having a giveaway from that thread. I will be choosing, well, it'll be a random choice. We'll be picking out a winner from the thread on Ravelry. If you don't want to use Ravelry, then if you email me at littlelikac@gmail.com, or if you drop me a line on Instagram saying that you want to join in, then when we come to do the draw, I will make sure your names are added into it as well. And I have bought one item. I'm just looking at I have bought one item already now to go into the prizes for that. I will be buying some or getting some other bits for it as well. But I was mentioned earlier about Amelia X Joy. I was looking at her project bags again the other day, and I could not resist this one. I thought it was perfect for our little Christmas make along. It's sheep in little Christmas jumpers. Can you see them? Little Christmas jumpers. So I thought, oh, I've got to get that. It has got a pocket inside. So, and her bags are just so simple, so nice. And as I said before, really reasonable as well. And she'd got a bit of a sale on because it was her birthday. So that is definitely going to be one of the items that we'll give away in our Christmas in July make-along. So if you would like to win that, then to participate you just need to get yourself onto the thread on Ravelry and have a little chat in there, show us what you're making, say hello to other people, comment on what they're making. The more times you talk on that thread, the more chance you've got of being pulled out, because as I say, it will be a random pick a number off of that thread. So that is our Christmas in July make along. If you do anything on Instagram for that, then there is a hashtag that I've started to use, which is LL Christmas in July MAL. Okay, I'll put that up on the screen. So yeah, if you tag any posts on Instagram that, you can tag me into it as well, at Little Likac Yarn, and I'll definitely be able to see it. But again, I will then, as I said before, if we've got a lot of entries, then it might be we do 2 giveaways, one for people who've entered on Instagram, one for those on Ravelry. If not, I'll combine the 2 together. So that's the first part of the giveaway prize. There will be some yarn to go with it, there will be some stitch markers to go with it. I'm just getting things a little bit at a time. Okay, how are we doing on time? Right, I've got about 10 minutes or so left. I also bought, so I'm kind of doing acquisitions now from Amelia X Joy. When I bought the Christmas bag, I had to get this bag as well. So purple is without a doubt my complete and utter favourite colour. And one of the reasons why it is my favourite colour goes all the way back to when I was about 14 and I first got into this particular artist. Now, can you work out which musician, songwriter and artist this bag is homage to? It's even got, I love this little tag. You see this little guitar? No, because it keeps turning. There we go. So it's even got this little guitar, which is so cool. If you didn't know who it is based on, it is Prince. So you've got the purple guitar, you've got the dove for When Doves Cry, Sign of the Times, Paisley Park, or the lips, I think, for Kiss. And oh my god, when I was a teenager, I was the biggest Prince fan. I know when I was about 16, 17, I had all his albums that he had released up until then. I had all his albums, I used to play them constantly. I knew all the words to all the songs. I knew what order every song was on every album. I used to say that if I ever went on Mastermind, Prince would have been my specialist subject. So when I saw this bag, it had to be. And that is where the love of purple came from originally, and has stayed with me ever since. So I had to get that bag, and basically anything I knit that's purple, I guess, is going to have to go in that bag now. So that is another item that I have bought in the last couple of weeks, and I just love it. I just love the idea that somebody had designed a fabric around Prince anyway. That I love, and then the fact that I could get a project bag made in that fabric makes me very excited. So that is another acquisition that I have got. Oh, I brought this down to show you as well. Talking about the Rainbow Sock Chronicles, and I know I was talking about that a bit earlier, but when the Rainbow Sock Chronicles was put together, and that was put together by 2 podcasters, So Sweet Violet, a lovely lady called Jules, who does some podcasts, and then Kelly from Lay Family Yarn. She does a little bit of podcasting as well and vlogs, but she's a dyer. She has a Lay Family Yarn. They were the 2 brains behind the Rainbow Sock Chronicles. And they did get this lovely box produced with this sort of monogram on the front. And so oh no, got stains somehow. Anyway, so I did buy one of these boxes, and in here are all my socks that I have done so far for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles. And I've not worn any of these yet. They're all being kept in this box, so I will have a box of socks like you see some people do. I'll have a box of socks at the end of the year with 12 pairs of socks with all the colours of the rainbow. So I'm going to have to might put some washi tape or something like that over there to cover that stain. I don't know what it's got on there. Okay, so lastly, I think this might be another 10 minutes, so I think we might go 5 minutes over my 45-minute this afternoon. I was tagged by Helen, who has the podcast Stitches and Jacks. She tagged me in this little thing that's going around called 6 patterns on your bucket list. And the idea is that you pick 6 patterns that you really like. I mean, to me, when you talk about bucket list, it's usually kind of, bucket list is things that you want to do before you die. And I really hope it's going to be a long, long time before I'm in that position. So, and I sort of thought, well, I don't know about finding 6 or thinking about 6 patterns before I die. So instead I just thought about, well, okay, what are my next sort of 6 patterns that I'm planning on knitting? And as you might know already, I will often say at the end of the podcast, I'll say, I think this will be the next thing I do. I think this will be the next thing I do. And then you don't see or hear of any of them again. So we'll see how many of these 6 actually get cast on in the next 6 months before the end of the year. And then also I failed here as well, you'll see in a minute. Okay, because I'm recording on my iPad, normally some of these things, if I've got photos, I would then hold my iPad up with the photo. So what I shall have to try and do is cut into the video with a picture of the pattern that I'm talking about. I don't know how to do the bit, you know how some podcasters have the picture come up in the screen there and you can still see their face. I don't know how to do that. I'm just using very, very simple editing software on my iPad. But I should be able to cut into the video. I know how to do that, a picture of each thing. So these are kind of my plans for my next 6 projects. So firstly, my niece, her baby turns 1 in August. Now I had originally planned on crocheting an amigurumi dinosaur for her. If you go back to episodes probably 2 and 3 of my podcast, you can see the big amigurumi dinosaur I did for my daughter. And I had planned to do that for my niece's daughter for her birthday, but she's going to be 1. And I'm just a bit concerned that my sewing skills of actually sewing the pieces together will not stand up to a 1-year-old tugging on arms and things. And I would hate for her not to be able to play with it. And I would hate even more for her to play with it and pull an arm off. So I changed my mind over doing a toy for her, and I'm going to do a garment instead. So I messaged my niece and asked her, did she have any preferences on colours, what kind of garment? I know that her daughter has very sensitive skin, just like my daughter did. And so I said, I'll do it in cotton or bamboo or so, it won't be wool and it won't be acrylic because I know that it could set off her skin. So anyway, with a little bit of to and fro in the conversation, we decided that I'm going to knit her like a tunic type dress. And I found a really lovely pattern that I will put in here, hopefully. So that is the pattern, and I'm going to do, like they have, a solid colour for the main dress part, and then they've obviously used a self-pattern yarn for the sleeves, whereas I'm going to use different coloured yarn to do some stripes. So this is the colour that I've chosen for the main tunic part, and this is 100% cotton, Serdar soft cotton double knit, and it's beautiful. Sort of a dark teal turquoise colour, and I know that the baby, I know that she's really drawn to some of these colours. So that's going to be the main body, and then I'm going to do stripy sleeves, and I am using some stash here because I have got bits of cotton left over from other projects, and I'm going to do the sleeves May use that pale pink, but this brighter pink, this green, I have got more of that green, and that cream. Yeah, I'm going to say maybe this pink as well. So I'm going to do stripy sleeves in these colours. So it's going to be, but I think that those are lovely, and hopefully my niece will love them, and even more importantly, her daughter will. So yeah, so the sleeves will be in those colours. So that's got to be done by the end of July. Baby's birthday is in August. We are going down to the West Country near where they live at the beginning of August, and we will hopefully get to see them. If we don't see them, and then I will see my brother, who will then pass the present on. So that's got to be finished in July. So that has to be, I was going to say the next thing I cast on, but it has to be one of the next things I cast on. So that's pattern number 1. Okay, pattern number 2 is a tank top or vest top that I've talked about knitting before, and I am really rubbish today. I have not brought down the yarn. So I've got a very bright pink Aran yarn that I bought in a charity shop at 50p a ball. Beautiful 100% merino, trying to think which, oh, Jaeger, 100% Jaeger, 100% merino Aran, and the wool is by Jaeger, so it's really good quality. So it's going to be a bright pink tank top. I will insert the picture here. The only thing with that picture or that design is you can see it's kind of A-line, and I've really struggled to find the right pattern. But every time I see that pattern, I really like the cable detail down the front, and I think that's right. But I don't like the way it's A-line, so I will either do it straight, or I might even put in a little bit of waist shaping to make it a little bit more fitted, because I don't particularly like the way that's kind of, well, not even boxy, it kind of goes out. So I might have to do a little bit of pattern manipulation on that. So that is pattern number 2. Pattern number 3 is another pair of socks. This will be the next pair of socks for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles, and the colour for July is purple. Now, having said how much I love purple, you would think I would have stacks of purple sock yarn, but actually I guess it's one colour that I don't have as much of, partly probably because I use it. I buy it and then use it. It's a colour then that, whereas other colours stay in my stash and don't get used, purple gets used all the time. But I think I've made a decision, yeah, that it will be, I say I made a decision, it'll either be that pinky purple, which is from Dina's Home of Crafts, and it's a Donegal net, as well as merino. So that is a possibility if I want something that's a little bit funky, or if I decide to go with something a little bit plainer and a bit more, so what do I want, sophisticated maybe? Don't know that there's very much sophisticated about me. Then I might go with this, which is a much plainer yarn. I think, I want to say I bought this in America. And if I did buy this in America, then I bought this 10 years ago in America. But it is possible. So this is bamboo and yew, so it's a bamboo blend. So it is, it says it's made in Turkey. Wouldn't that be ironic if I bought it in America but it's made in Turkey? I'll have to look on my Ravelry stash page. Anyway, come on, somewhere. 55% wool, 30% nylon, 15% bamboo. Now the pattern that I'm going to do for this one is the new, well, I say new, yeah, it is quite new, from the Handmade Sock Society by Curious Handmade, Helen Stewart. The pattern that she released in June was called Lavender Fields. It's a really pretty pattern. I shall put it here. But because it's called Lavender Fields, there was no way I was going to knit that for June for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles in turquoise. Like, if it's Lavender Fields, it's got to be done in purple. And I suppose neither of these actually feel like lavender colours. I suppose you don't get lavender that colour You might get lavender that colour. So I think that is probably going to be, and also if you look at that design, yeah, I'm 90% sure that that will be the yarn I use for that pattern. So that is number 3 in my 6 patterns on my bucket list. Number 4 is the ranunculus. Now I really like the ranunculus design. I know some people don't like the look of it at all. I really liked that pattern when I saw it on Ravelry, and then over the last 6 months in particular I've seen it come up a lot on Instagram, on podcasts, and it's one of those, very much like the summer sorrel for me. Every time I see it, it catches my eye. And what I really love about the ranunculus design is if you go to Ravelry and or just search it on Instagram, you will see it looks so different depending on what yarn you use, because it's designed in a way, my understanding is that you can knit it in pretty much any weight yarn, certainly anything from lace weight through to Aran weight. Anyway, you can use sort of any size, any thickness yarn. And obviously if you do it in lace weight, it makes a very light summery style top, whereas obviously Aran, it's going to be thicker and heavier. But quite popular seems to be doing lace weight or 4-ply and mohair. I can't decide on mohair. I know it's really in, and I know loads of people, it's this, you know, it seems to be the trend, knitting, holding, one lace weight or fingering weight with mohair. And I have knitted with mohair, and it does get everywhere and it does get up your nose. And it's not scratchy and itchy like it used to be back in the 80s. It is definitely much softer. But for me, the jury's still out. I know what will happen. I will get into it. I will suddenly decide I love it just as it goes out of fashion, because that's what happens with me all the time. Just when I decide I am actually going to get on board with a trend, that trend is no longer a trend and I'm out of fashion again. But anyway, so I'm not going to do it with mohair. I have got in my stash, because I've got so much in my stash, I have got this silk. This is 100% lace weight silk that I did buy in America, and I bought this in America 11 years ago because I just thought it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen, and I still do. And then I came home and I went, well, what on earth am I going to do with it? And worse than that, when I then looked on Ravelry and actually saw it knitted up on shawls, which is what most people have done, because I didn't like how the colours went on a shawl. Didn't like it at all. So I just didn't know what to do with it. Did not know what to do with it. I mean, it is just the most beautiful colours. So I've also bought at the same store at the same time some other lace weight yarn. This is 100% merino. So instead of holding lace weight and mohair together, I'm going to hold these two together. And my thought is, because I'm not sure how well the ranunculus would work with a heavily variegated yarn, but my thought is if I hold this one and this one together, it will soften the variegation of this. But obviously the purple in this does go with the purple. So my plan or my thought is it will soften the variegation, and it will give a really nice, you know, merino and silk is a classic combination, and I hope it will give a really nice lightweight summery drape and feel. So I'm going to do the ranunculus. I have heard that it's a quick knit, that people, because you knit it on really big needles, 6mm needles, I have heard people saying that, you know, it takes a couple of weeks to knit. So I keep looking at the silk. So yeah, I'll be really pleased to use this yarn as well, because they've both been sitting in my stash for years, and I was getting to that point where I was feeling guilty about them being in there, because it's like, what am I ever going to knit with lace weight? Why did I buy lace weight? I don't even know why I did buy lace weight, but now I'm thinking, hey, I'm glad I've got this. And this was expensive, I'm not going to lie. This is Blue Ridge yarn, and it has got a price on it. I got it from a yarn shop in Florida, and it cost me $54. Whereas this merino, 100% merino, also from Florida, only cost me $11. What a bargain. So I obviously figured I could buy that at $54 because I was buying that at $11 and getting a bargain with that. So yes, so this is probably the most expensive, or yeah, probably the most expensive skein of yarn I've ever bought. And therefore, that's the other thing I think I also, I've got to do something special with it. And then, as I say, when I saw it knitted up on Ravelry, I was like, oh, I don't like it. And then I felt guilty about spending a lot of money on something I then didn't really like. And but I think that is going to work. I hope you agree. Okay, so that's Ranunculus, and that is number 4 on my list. Number 5, I can't show you because I can't find the pattern. So at the moment, I've only got 5 patterns on my bucket list because I did have a pattern that another summer one that I've been planning on knitting, and I can't find it anywhere. So we'll stick with just 5 for now, and if I find it. Number 6 is actually some mittens. And again, I guess this is bucket list, some of this, because this has been in my Ravelry queue for about 5 years. And I bought the yarn for this set of mittens. I actually looked from Knit Picks. I actually bought the right yarn for the pattern, and I double checked today. I went onto the Knit Pick site. I bought that yarn back in 2015. So more yarn that has been sitting in my stash. I've not brought it out because it will be packed away in the garage. I do know roughly where it is. But let me just firstly show you a picture of the pattern. Okay, so as you can see, there's actually not 1 pair of mittens, there were 6 pairs of mittens. And the idea is that each pair goes for a month through October, November, December, January, February, March. I really, really love the October ones, the ones with the leaves, the autumn leaves. Love those, and I love the December ones as well with the snowflakes. Could knit those for the July, or I could start them anyway for the July and Christmas make-along. Although my plan really is actually I definitely want to do the autumn, the October leaf ones. I definitely want to do the Christmas snowflake ones. I've got the yarn in theory for all 6 pairs, but if I manage to get 2 pairs done this winter, maybe by the end of the year, if I got 2 pairs of those 6 patterns, that would be amazing. Colour work, I'm not afraid of colour work. I can do colour work, just my tension isn't great always on colour work. So I might have a little look on YouTube, just sort of remind myself, or actually, I say remind myself, actually learn properly how to do the floats. And again, I kind of know how I do the floats, whether it is exactly correct, I couldn't tell you. So as I say, if you look on my Ravelry project page, I've done colour work before, but sometimes my tension isn't always very even. So it might be quite good though to get back into some colour work and get practicing on it again. Right, that I've just seen the time. This is much longer than I usually talk for. I normally try and keep it to 45 minutes, so I'm sorry that I have gone over that. I am actually genuinely sorry, because that is always my plan, to stick to 45 minutes. So what else do I need? Really nothing else for me to tell you about specifically, other than please come and join in and join us with the Christmas in July make along. You know, leave a comment down here about anything you want to join in with on there. Pop onto Ravelry or onto Instagram and use the hashtag LL Christmas in July, MAL. And as I say, there's that Christmas sheep and Christmas jumpers project bag, which will definitely be a prize, and there will be more being added in the next couple of podcasts. So until then, 2 weeks time, I shall see you then. Have a great couple of weeks. Enjoy your knitting. Share what you're knitting with us. It'll be lovely to see you. And I'll say the like and subscribe bit again. If you like what you see, like and subscribe to my channel, so I get to see you again, or you get to see me again. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Bye.